Hello and welcome to Tech Bike Parts. Today we're going to be showing you how to install aftermarket lamps on Royal Enfield motorcycles using the various different methods and wiring and mountings that we have available. First of all, I'm going to be showing you how to fit the full lighting kit and tail tidy kit onto the Meteor. We've already done a separate video showing you how you mount the tail tidy kit with or without the original lamps on. And this video is intended to show how you finish off installing that kit with the wiring and the aftermarket lamps if you're not using the original equipment lamps. So this video will also explain various things that you'll need to know for fitting lamps onto the other Royal Enfield models, but we'll also specifically show the different mountings that fit those models as well. But if you want to watch through this one first, and we'll go into things like how you fit resistors and the connectors to the lamps, and how you actually also mount the fittings on the bike. And then we'll do the changes required for the Interceptor, the Continental GT and the Himalayan for mounting lamps onto those as well. So if you followed the last video, you'll already have the tail tidy kit fitted onto the back here. You now need to remove your seat if you already don't have it off. And obviously on the models with the grab rail, you need to take 4 bolts out, not just the 2. So you remove those 2 front bolts. The seat just clips out. And then we need to also remove these 2 bolts here. So once you have your seats off, this is what you'll have. You've got your lamp wiring here at the back, which plugs into your original harness. And this was your original wiring for your number plate lighting indicators. Now if you follow this harness back, you'll see it comes to this plug here. So we simply just need to squeeze the clip and unplug that. And we've got a new harness that's going to go in here. And this is what the new harness looks like. It has a plug and play plug that plugs straight in the original harness. It has a plug for the original rear light that'll plug straight in. Now attached, if you look at the wiring, you'll see attached to that plug there's an extra pair of wires. These are for your number plate wiring, and these plug into this pair of wires here that are the adapter wire that we supply in the kit as well, that goes to the number plate. And these, on all these plugs, you'll have a black wire which is the negative connector, and they all go black to black. Some of the other colours will vary, like this is red in here, but the coloured wire always goes to the coloured wire. So remember, just black to black in every plug, and you'll not go wrong. The other two pairs we have here are the indicator wires. Now you have again a black one in each and a coloured one in each, and the black and white one goes to the left. That's the positive. And the green and black one goes to the right, but they connect to the resistors first, and I'll show you how to do that once we've put the wiring in. So I normally just leave this wiring in place and tuck it in underneath this bracket here and under the seat. It just means if you do ever want to put it back on, you know where it is. But if you want to be neat, you can remove it from the bike. Sometimes you might find it's easy. It's actually quite tight, the wiring under these between the frame and the mudguard, and you may want to just loosen the mudguard mountings off slightly. I normally manage to get it in and out without doing that, but on some bikes it's really tight and you may find it easier to get it out. Also, getting it past the airbox here, it's really tight to get the plug in and out. Normally if you just push down hard on the airbox, you can squeeze it past. But I'll fit the wiring in now, and we'll go to the next stage. So the next stage is to mount the lamps and the mountings onto the back of the bike. Now if, like this bike, you don't have the grab rail and backrest fitted, these will mount straight onto the frame at this point. But if you have the grab rail fitted, you'll need to use the spacer and the extra long bolt, and these simply fit through the backrest like that. But I'll show you on this bike now which way you want to put the wiring in. You just feed the wire in between the frame tube and the seat, and then pull them out here. It's a little bit fiddly to get them through. Now when you put this bracket on, don't fully tighten it up, but do put some blue Loctite on the threads. These threads are aluminium, so you can't go crazy tightening them up, and if you don't want them to come loose, it's always best to use a drop of Loctite on them. Same with these bolts here, it's always best to use a drop of Loctite on them. You simply fit the mounting bolt through there, and you see what I've done here. Because I haven't tightened this up fully yet, I can get in easier to the bolt, and then I'll simply get that mounted up into position. What you'll find is you want them pointing slightly up the brackets, just so they don't hit the rear mudguard. Once you have that all in position and tightened up, you can then just finally nip the lamp up to the position you want it in. I'll repeat that on the other side and show you how to fit the resistors next. So next we need to fit the resistors to the rear lamp wiring. Now you only need one pair of resistors to the bike. You can either fit them to the rear lamps or the front lamps, and these are the same for all Royal Enfield models. You can get alternate flasher units, but we found them to be unreliable, and the resistor are normally the most reliable way to stop hyperflash, which is flashing at an uneven rate, and obviously which is illegal. You can't have that. So this brings them back down by emulating the resistance of the original bulbs that were in, and the original equipment flash unit then just thinks that everything's the same as before. So these come with a pair of black connectors, a male and a female, and a pair of red connectors, a male and a female. Now a lot of people get confused when they're fitting these, and it's really quite simple. This basically needs to go between the positive and negative on the lamp, and then these connectors connect the new lamp. So first of all, you take the black one, the black male from your lamp, and put it into the black female connector. Now they should be a good tight fit, but we have found that there's actually two different sizes of bullets on aftermarket lamps, and some of them are about 1/2 mil smaller. If you find it's a loose fit in there, simply just grip the edges of the female connector with a pair of pliers and just slightly close the crimp up a little bit, and you'll find it's a good fit then. So we've connected the black to the resistor. Now we need to connect the coloured wire to the red wire on the resistor. Again, make sure it's a good tight fit when you go in. So you're left with two male connectors. Now these two male connectors will go into the wiring that we've run in, the new connector wire. Now these go to the two indicator pairs. So this one's the left side, so that the red one on this needs to go to the red side positive, and the black one needs to go to the negative, which is black. So again, black to black is the general rule of thumb, and you can't go wrong. While we're here, we connect the tail light up, the stop and tail lamp up, and we have the wiring pair that we connect our number plate light to. Again, it's black and coloured for the positive. It's simply a matter of repeating that with the right hand side indicator with the resistor. Again, black to black. And red to the coloured. And then those two connect to the other wiring pair. Now luckily there's plenty of room on the seat to get these down. Obviously to make this neater, we just push it into position under the frame there and clip it up. And obviously if you're removing the original harness, you can take this out, or you can simply just tuck it up under the seat, underneath this frame rail here. So that's the rear light wiring done. It's just a matter of getting the lamps in position and tightening them up. And you also need to plug this wire into this connector here. So we'll move on to the front now. First of all, you need to remove these two Phillips screws at the lower underside of the headlight. If you remove those with a crosshead screwdriver. No, they're a shouldered screw to stop them crushing the plastic. And now if you pull the bottom out and the top up, you can then remove the headlamp. And if you just unplug the headlight and side light bulb connectors, you can put that safely out the way. So the next thing we need to do is remove these two little plastic trim clips here with a Phillips screwdriver. Sometimes you need to pull on them at the same time because they're just a push-in clip. And that releases the cable holder, which hooks in at the top. So you just unhook that and it gives you access to all your wiring there now. But before we do the wiring, we want to change the lamps. So the easiest way I've found to do this is one lamp at a time, and undo the headlight mounting, so you can swing the mounting out the way so you can get in down the back onto the nut without scratching anything. So we'll do the left side and then we'll repeat it on the right side, and I'll show you how to do it next. But we need to undo this Allen headed bolt and nut that mounts the headlight bucket to the bracket. So I'll do that now. Once you've done that, you can swing this bracket out the way so you can get much easier access to the nut holding the indicator lamp on. But remember not to lose this spacer that sits inside of that rubber there. Sometimes it's quite a loose fit and it can drop out. So once you've removed the nut off the back of the indicator, follow the wiring back and you'll find into the headlight and you'll find the plug for the lamp. And just simply unplug that, feed it back through the grommet, and then you can remove the lamp from the bike. This trim will normally come off as well. We need to refit that. So the next thing we need to do is fit our lamp adapters onto the lamps. Now, because these use a two-hole mounting, and most aftermarket lamps are a single-hole mounting, we need this adapter. Now, these adapters will work with either our 10mm shaft lamps like these, or our 8mm shaft lamps, because they're supplied with a reducer sleeve that fits inside. So we're using a 10mm lamp, so we don't need the reducer sleeve. So I found it much easier to fit these to the lamp first other than try and feed the wiring through the 3 different brackets, because it tends to get stuck. So if you just fit this to the lamp first, but don't tighten the grub screw up here fully, just nip it to a point where it just holds onto the lamp but doesn't grip it up solid, because you need to be into here to put the bolt in. So the next thing we do is pass that through the D-shaped hole on the trim, and then pass the nut and bolts supplied through the adapter bracket, and then pass the wiring again through the D-shaped hole and pass your nut and bolt through the bracket and put the nut on the inside. So if you tighten the mounting bolt up now, and then you can reinstall this. Well, actually the easiest way is to put the wiring into the hole in the back of the headlight bucket before you put the bracket on, because you've got more room to manoeuvre. So therefore you've got your wiring to here. Now obviously this plug isn't going to fix to this plug, so I'm going to show you what to do with that next. So the next thing we need to do is fit one of our universal indicator wiring adapters onto the standard wiring here, so it allows us to mount onto the the new lamp wiring. Now you may find that these wires are taped right up to the plug, in which case you can ease the tape off or just push it back a little bit. But you want to be onto the wires here, the black wire and the coloured wire. And we use these three self-stripping connectors. If you're not familiar with these, they're very easy to use. You simply clip it onto the first section here, which is the outer one, which has a hole at either end, and then you push the wire in that needs to go into the other one that has only a hole at one end. Now make sure that you hold it to a point where you want to feel it go all the way in. If it only goes to here, it won't self-strip when you crimp it up. So that's the coloured one, so we put the coloured one into it there. So making sure it's all the way in, and you simply use a pair of pliers. It's a little bit fiddly to try and show you how this works. Simply use a pair of pliers to crimp it up. Again, just make sure that it's got a good hold. So effectively what you're doing is, once both your wires are in there, you squeeze that down, and it's got a very tight slot there, so it crimps through the insulation on the wires and onto the copper without actually damaging the original equipment. And you're still left with the original equipment plug there. It just means you've got now two sets of plugs under there, so you can fit either or indicator lamps. So I'll just do the same again with the black wire, making sure that I use it the right way around, where it's got the hole at this end for the wire that needs to tap in. It is a little bit tight and fiddly, this, but you normally do a plug-in connector for these, but with these being a new bike, so most manufacturers tend to use special plugs these days, and some of them we simply can't get, or it's just not economical to get them made up. So for cases where we don't have a plug, this universal kit is quite handy. It just means that you're not chopping the original equipment plugs off the wiring, which is a bit of a permanent sort of thing and not reversible. We like to keep all modifications reversible. So again, it's a matter of just connecting black to black on the wiring adapter and colour for colour, and we just need to repeat that step again for the other side. So we now have everything all fitted back in there now. Now all you need to do is get the lamps into a position that you're happy with, and using the Allen key provided, just tighten the little grub screws up onto the lamps. Just make sure they're fully pushed in. Right, so obviously just have a bit, take a bit of time to make sure they're perfectly level. Next thing you need to do is just clip in this at the top here, and make sure all your wiring's all sort of neatly tucked up there. Make sure you leave the headlight wire out, and pop your two little clips back in there. Obviously turn the ignition on and check that your lights are all functioning correctly, front and rear. If you have a problem, just make sure you haven't pulled a wire out or something like that. And then it's simply a matter of reconnecting the headlight in. See, just by changing the lamps and the mirrors on a bike, how much difference it can make to the look. It's got a much cleaner, simpler look altogether. Of course, you can individualise your bike by the choice of the actual lamps or the mirrors that you put on. And matching the tail tidy with the original lamps.
mirrors.
Okay, so that's the Meteor all done. We'll now move on to the differences on the Interceptor, the Continental GT. Now, we've been producing a lighting kit a while now. We've come up with quite a few add-ons and alternatives to it, so I'm just going to run through the basic simple fitting of the kit and some of the variations and options that you have. Now, the standard headlight brackets we never liked, but we've been asked more and more if we can do mountings for the lamps that will work with the standard headlight fitting kit, because the option screens that Royal Enfield make actually mount onto these brackets. So we've come up with these little adapters which simply screw through the headlight and the wiring goes through them. So these have got a 12mm fitting at one end for the mounting, and we've got a 10mm fitting at the other end. So they'll work with any of our 10mm fitting lamps. So that's the hammer, the slug, the chrome slug, the bullet, and the chrome bullet. Now, for the chrome lamps, we produce a polished aluminium spacer, and obviously a black one to go with the black lamps. So this simply fits onto your lamp. It screws on. Like I said, it only works with 10mm lamps. So what I would suggest you do is, before you screw the lamp on, just put a dot of blue Loctite on the threads of your lamp, just so it doesn't come loose at any point. And then you screw that on. Now, obviously you can adjust this once it's through. Next, washer. Pass your wires through the bracket. It's much easier showing you this off the bike than on. And on the threaded end of the bolt, you just pass. If you stagger the wires like that, you'll find that'll go in much easier. Pass through the sleeve, and it's a bit tight on the sleeve, and it's a good fit. And then you simply tighten that. And obviously, once that's on the bike, you can adjust it to where you want it. If you can tighten that up, and then you can tighten the lamp by hand onto there. If you're using the slug or the bullet type, these are actually threaded into the lamp as well. These ones aren't, but these ones. So again, unscrew the fit and put a drop of Loctite on there. Tighten that back up again. Now, you can't go crazily tight with these because they're aluminium. So you just put an open-ended spanner on there. You can nip that up, and then you tighten this up into your adapter or onto the nut if you're using it on the bike. So that covers your front lamps. These fittings will actually work on the rear as well, just the same, but they're supplied with a little spacer, aluminium turn spacer washer that fits onto there perfectly. And obviously on a black one, you'd probably use a black one with black lamps, but the grey coloured one that they do on the silver bikes, you may want to use a chrome lamp with the polished aluminium. So they fit on just the same way as those. Alternatively, we do a small dished washer, machined washer, and you can fit them straight onto this bracket. That's a really neat way of doing it, but for some markets the lamps aren't far enough apart, and you may need to fit them with these, or some of the alternative methods I'm going to show you in a moment. Now, when you're fitting the rear lamp to this unit, it's the one thing, nearly everything we do is a bolt-on fitting, but on these you actually do need to drill two small holes. So the way we do it is just fit a bit of tape across the hole centres there, just to mark it, and using a ruler mark your centre, measure from either side to mark your centre, and then measure the spacing for the two bolts on the lamp here. which is 46mm between centres. So you need to measure 23mm either side of your centre, and then mark the holes. I'm not measuring them here, I'm just showing you what you do. And obviously, because that's on the centre line, you just need to re-drill the 2 holes. Now, I wouldn't recommend using something like a felt tip pen. I'm just using that to show you how you do it. Use a pencil, which is much more accurate. Once you've got your holes marked in, you simply drill 2 5mm holes to allow this to pass through. And it's a really neat fit because the lamp is the same width as this fitting. And you can see you've got options. You can either mount the lamps on here, or you can mount them on the frame, which I'm going to show you in a moment with our new fittings. Or you can mount a different type of lamp altogether, again, which mounts to the frame. Now, if you mount it to the frame, you're going to be left with a couple of holes in this lamp. And what we normally do, we just use these turned black anodized, or we do them in a silver anodized finish as well. These are actually our slimline bar ends that we use with Triumphs, and they actually fit in there perfectly. And if you use them with like a penny washer on the back, they bolt out and look really neat. Right, the kit comes with fully plug and play wiring for the rear lights, and with plug and play wiring adapters for the front indicators, so they plug into the proper plugs in the front. So you've got no wiring issues with the Interceptor Continental GT. Now, what I was saying about alternative lamps for the rear, sorry, we didn't now do these bolt-on brackets that bolt onto the frame, onto the grab rail mountings underneath here, so you can mount any aftermarket bolt-in lamp. And with them being black, they tend to blend into the frame. So they'll work with any 8 or 10mm lamp that we do. You know, we do lots of different types. But we also do a new type of E-marked lamp. Now these are really, really neat. And because I've got a hole through, 8mm hole, these will simply bolt onto these from underneath, and they're so small and neat that you'll hardly even notice they're on the bike. Now we do a 6 LED one, which is really bright and noticeable, but we also do a mini one, which is 3 LEDs, but it's still bright enough to be E-marked. So, you know, it's a matter of choice if you want really small. Now, you can fit these anywhere on the bike if you've got a suitable mounting point to put them on. They're all solid aluminium. They've got a clear lens, and like I say, because they're E-marked, they're really bright. Now, the only thing you'll find if you're mounting these lamps to the midsection is you're going to have to tap into the wiring further up under the seat. Again, you can use our universal indicator wiring kit to do that, adapter kit, and they just clip onto the existing wiring, and you can then connect them up under the seat. So that's an answer for all the issues there. Our standard front mountings for the Interceptor normally come with a headlight mounting kit as well, because we much prefer these lamp mountings to the originals. But like I say, if you want to mix and match it, you can use this fitting with the original lamps. Now, when we supply these, we normally supply a couple of these little drop-down mountings for the lamps. Now, these they can be mounted anywhere on these lamps, inside, outside, pointing up, down. It gives you a lot of various positions you can put the lamp in on there as well. So again, there's lots of options there. Now you've got the option of black on these headlight mountings, or you can have silver as well if you're looking for the chrome look. So that's available as full kits with various different lamps, or you can buy all the separate parts and mix and match it yourself, whichever way you want to go. Right, next of all, we're looking at the Himalayan. Now, the Himalayan uses the same type of mounting that the new Meteor does on the lamps. So if you want to change the indicator lamps, we produce the little adapters that I showed you how you fit them onto the Meteor, and the basically the same way you do it again. Now these will work with 8 or 10mm lamps, and you'll need to use the universal wiring adapter kit like I showed on the Meteor again. So that's basically straightforward. Use the same sort of method I used on that. Handy thing with these is you can use rubber mounted lamps, flexible lamps, which is great when you go off-road, because if you drop the bike you won't smash the lamp off, it'll just bend. So that gives you the option to do that, because I've broken the lamps on mine a couple of times just catching them on branches and things. But I'm going to fit some rubber mounted ones on mine, and if I like them we'll probably start stocking those as well. But that's an option for the Himalayan as well. So I think we've covered basically everything there. If you've got any questions, you can come back to us on our information page. So thanks for looking. All these parts are available now on our web shop, and if you've got any questions, like I say, just fire us an email. Thanks a lot now. Bye.